Prime Time Local News, serving the Lakeland and Midwest regions.
Back here in the Border City, community cleanup is returning for another year as Pitchin Week kicks off today. The annual event encourages everyone to join in spring cleaning activities from today till May 7th. Our Shelby Clark has more.
This year's Pitchin Week is presented by Mary Brown's and will also include a household hazardous waste roundup. The city is looking to motivate youth in the community to become environmental stewards.
So this is going to be a corn. Where would that go? In the waste, organic, or recycle? Perfect, good job. It's food, you betcha. There you go. Good job. Today, honestly, is just making sure the community awareness of how to make sure we can keep our city nice and clean and get the kids involved. They're the ones that are actually going to teach the older people in the community, or their parents anyway.
By teaching young people healthy habits, the city created a fun approach for them to learn, like coloring activities and the Hoop Challenge. This challenge shows kids which bin each garbage item to put into and why it's important.
The kids always nail it. The kids always nail it. We do it with some older people like myself that aren't more familiar with the recycling program or the organic program, and unfortunately, the kids are crushing life on that one.
Although everyone is happy the snow is finally melting, what's left behind is why community members need to come together and help keep the environment safe. This week is the city's way of starting off fresh for the spring and summer season by kicking off at Father Gorman School.
They're out picking up in front of the schoolyard. We had the street sweepers come by, which you're going to see throughout the neighborhoods in Lloydminster for the next month and a half, to get the streets swept up, get the gravel and debris off the streets. But we're asking people to pick up the garbage that's laying around in the park, in their yards, around them, and just beautify the city.
The city warns for residents to look out for any signs on the street sweepers so drivers can take the time and move their vehicles. They hope Pitchin Week will activate members to continue these cleaning initiatives and keep the community clean all year round.
Well, I'll just ask that everybody just take the time this week, and if you don't have time this week, you can do it next week, that's for sure. But it's just great when people stop and pick up litter. It's a challenge that we have. I encourage people not to litter, but it still happens. So all we ask is people to take the time to try and clean up behind someone else, and it doesn't matter what litter it is, it's deposited. Please take the time to clean it up.
The hazardous waste roundup will take place Saturday morning, and you can find more information on the City of Lloydminster's website. For Primetime Local News, I'm Shelby Clark.
It's time now for this week's retrospect. Here is Jace Mackey.
Starting things off this week in 1994, Lloydminster fire officials are concerned with the number of fires in the community.
Lloydminster's April fire report is in, and many local residents may be burned by the figures. Last month, the total loss of damages due to fire in Lloydminster was $197,700. Chief Ted Gustafson says with those numbers, the city could quickly bypass last year's annual total loss.
For the year 1993, we only had 370-some thousand for the whole year.
Over the weekend, local firefighters responded to 7 fire calls at a cost of $5,000 for local taxpayers. 5 of those fires were brush fires. Chief Gustafson says 4 of the blazes may have been started on purpose, most likely by young children. He says he wants the kids to stop before someone gets hurt or even killed.
If they don't care, they should start caring, because, I mean, somebody could lose their life. There was a life lost in Edmonton in an apartment block fire due to an arsonist. So, you know, it's nothing to be playing around or fooling around with.
Because of dry, windy conditions, the chief says he would like a ban on all fires in local parks. While that may not happen, he says he hopes parents will teach their children to stop playing with fire. before he is forced to press charges.
I don't like to do that, but if we have to, we have to do something.
And in 1998, a school in Heinsberg opens their doors to show the community how to surf the World Wide Web.
I'm checking the email.
Students and parents alike are hitting the information highway at the Heinsberg School. The facility has tapped into a federal government project known as CAP, the Community Access Program.
As a CAP site, we provide equipment, training, and opportunities for the community to get into our school to use the equipment for the internet.
Lauren Young is principal at the Heinsberg School. The program has allowed Young and his staff to purchase 6 new computers for access to the internet and to link up with the existing 25 workstations in the school. That equipment is now available to anyone interested, and the school is encouraging local residents to get involved.
A lot of our communities right now aren't on the internet, and this will provide an opportunity for them to get some first-hand knowledge of what it's like to use the internet. Industry Canada encourages people to become familiar with it and to find ways that they can use it for their own benefit.
And it's a lovely tree.
Thursday's open house helped to draw Heinsberg residents to the school to see the internet in action and to view some of the specialized studies students and staff have been developing. Still, the goal is to create awareness, accessibility, and most of all, community involvement.
Get onto the internet, find out what it can do and what it can do for them.
This has been our look at This Week in Retrospect.
Retrospect this week is brought to you by Webb's Ford. Worth your while to drive the extra mile. Webb's Ford in Vermilion.
Today we saw the sun shining, and hopefully the rest of the week will follow just like today. But for more on our weather forecast, we go to our Shelby Clark.
Thank you so much, Ms. Abby St. John. Yes, a beautiful day indeed as we head into this new week. I think we are definitely looking at the nicest temperatures that we have seen yet as we are heading more into our spring season, almost into our summer season. We are just sitting at 22 right now here in the border city, so reaching past that 20-degree mark, which is very nice. You know, last week we were getting slightly closer as we were seeing more of the teens temperatures, but now we are getting past that point and we are just seeing that 22-degree mark, and we are looking at a lot more sunshine throughout the day. So hopefully everybody's enjoying it. Make sure to get outside and enjoy these nice conditions as we have it for this week, because we never know when it might switch up as we go on through the weeks after this. Switching over to temperatures across the region for Alberta and Saskatchewan. On the Alberta side, most spots sitting around that 22-23 degree mark, and then we have some areas that are definitely looking a lot warmer, trying to show off quite a bit. We are seeing some that are also seeing around 24 to 26. That seem to be the most popular on our Alberta side. And then we go a bit farther out, we see that 26 in Vegreville looking very nice. Then Edmonton, 28 degrees, as Edmonton is even almost hitting that 30-degree mark. So of course Edmonton is showing off, of course. Hopefully we'll get there soon, right, Abby? Yeah. Yes, of course. Fingers crossed, indeed. Switching over to our Saskatchewan side, they are looking slightly cooler compared to our Alberta side. They are still seeing, for all those areas, they are seeing past that 20-degree mark, as most of them are just seeing around 21 to 22 degrees. But then we are seeing the warmest there just at 24 down in Macklin. So they aren't really hitting that 25, 26, or 28 like Edmonton. And we go a bit higher up, and Isla Cross is looking slightly cooler, as they are just sitting at 18. So they haven't quite reached that 20-degree mark, but they are still looking quite warm on our Saskatchewan side, which is nice to see. North Battleford will be going down to that low of that 4-degree mark for their evening low temperature. So seeing a beautiful temperature. Hopefully we will be seeing these from now on as we are moving more into those plus temperatures as we go through our evenings. And it will be a nice clear night for them. And then for their daytime high for their Tuesday, 25 degrees. Looking at a beautiful temperature for tomorrow and a mixture of some sun and clouds. So a beautiful day for them tomorrow. Cold Lake will be going down to that low of 8-degree mark, so definitely will be warming up for their evening low, so it's going to be nice. We're heading into patio season. I'm so excited. Everybody loves some patio season. And then Cold Lake tomorrow for their Tuesday, 21 degrees, so seeing just past that 20-degree mark for their daytime high, although they will be expecting more of cloudier conditions compared to sunshine. For us here in the border city, we will be going down to that low of 6-degree mark, so we will be seeing some cloudier conditions tonight through our evening. And then for our Tuesday, daytime high of 24 degrees, so beautiful temperature. cooler and a lot more sunshine, maybe a little bit more cloudier skies compared to today, but we are expected to see another sunny day tomorrow. And now ending off with a look at one of your weather photo submissions. Make sure to get online to our Facebook page and submit them. I will use them on my weather segments. And this is the one we have for today. Absolutely gorgeous shot. Absolutely love to see some nice shots of some beautiful trees out there. Thank you for that. And that's all I have for now. For our first look at your weather forecast.
Thank you so much for that, Shelby. I'm very excited for that weather. But coming up after the break, we'll have a look at the day's business headlines. The Saskatchewan High School Rodeo Association had its first event this past weekend here in Lloydminster. With more, here's our Thomas Wildman.
The Saskatchewan High School Rodeo Association was at the Lloydminster exhibition to kick off the season with the Bordertown High School Rodeo. Junior high and senior high kids saddled up to compete from across the province, and the association was happy to have a rodeo in the border city.
It's amazing. Like I said, we're from all over Saskatchewan, so we wanted to put on a local event because we have a few families here that travel 6+ hours to get to our rodeos. Very excited to see all the trailers rolling in with all the competitors. We probably have around 200 families coming from all over Saskatchewan, so bringing a lot of people to Lloyd, and yeah, very excited.
Like most rodeos, the Saskatchewan Rodeo Association has a rodeo queen who comes out to each and every one of the events.
You have to go through a series of competitions. I'm at the finals, at the provincial finals. You have 8 categories, so you have speech, modeling, a personal interview, you have a written test, and you have a horsemanship pattern.
While the rodeo queen also competes in the events and has to be one of the faces of Saskatchewan High School Rodeo, one of the most important duties is helping to mentor the younger kids.
So my older sister, she's graduated through the high school ranks. I've been here since I was about 8 years old, and I always looked up to the rodeo queen. They were always super nice and helpful. So I think that it's super important and special to me that I'm able to mentor the younger kids as well.
The next stop for the Saskatchewan High School Rodeo is in Kyle. Thomas Wildman, Primetime, Local News.
Now we're going to go over to our Shelby Clark, who has an extended look at your weather forecast.
Thank you so much, Miss Abby St. John. Now let's take an extended look at your weather forecast. We will be starting off with our central zone of the provinces, and we are looking a lot warmer than what we were looking at last week. Of course, we were kind of expecting this, so it's nice to see as it kind of has spread across the provinces. In our central zone, we are even looking closer to that 30-degree mark, which is absolutely gorgeous. What a switch up from the winter season, of course, you know, as we head more into our spring and summer season, but it's nice to see that it's kind of moving fast and we are getting some nice conditions. Edmonton's still sitting at 28, while we have 27s for Athabasca and down in Red Deer, and then we have between 24 and 26 in most spots on this side. So definitely looking a lot warmer in these areas. Switching over to our Saskatchewan side, they are looking slightly cooler compared to our Alberta side. Most spots are looking just past that 20-degree mark, but you know, we are seeing that 16 and 18 over in Milford and Prince Albert, so they are looking a few degrees cooler. Then we have 20 degrees in Saskatoon, and then 22 for North Battleford and Meadow Lake, just a degree underneath us here in the border city. Going over to our northern zone, they have warmed it up quite a bit as well. They were kind of matching with us with those conditions last week as they were trying to hit those double digits, but now they seem to, most spots are going just past that 20-degree mark. On our Saskatchewan side, we are seeing those 20s for La Loche and Buffalo Narrows. Then up in Uranium City and Stony Rapids, they are surprisingly looking the warmest compared to the rest of these areas, as usually they look slightly cooler. 21, 22 in those two spots, and the rest are just seeing in those teens. 18 in Wollaston Lakes, they are just a couple degrees off from that 20-degree mark, and then South End and Flin Flon looking slightly cooler as they're just sitting at 14 and 16. Going back over to Alberta's side here, they are matching with us more in our central zone for sure. High level seems to be the only one that's just under that 20-degree mark, and then we start to warm up from there. 23s for Peace River and Grand Prairie, and then we start to warm up even more with 25 in Fort Chipewyan, 26 in Slave Lake, and then Fort McMurray is surprisingly just at 28. So they are even getting closer to that 30-degree mark as well. Going over to our southern zone, they are matching with us in both our northern and our central area. area, surprisingly, I'm shocked they're not even past that 30-degree mark because they like to, definitely show off and look a lot warmer compared to these other areas. But they are matching with us more with these conditions. 24 over in Banff, and the rest are just hitting that 25-degree mark. So looking a lot nicer in this zone compared to last week. Switching back over to our Saskatchewan side, they are kind of matching with what they were seeing as we ended off last week on that Friday there, as they were seeing more spots in those teens areas. So we have that 14 for Estevan and over in Yorkton, and then we start to slightly warm up. 17, 18 for Moose Jaw and Regina, and then we have 2 that are just past that 20-degree mark with 21 in Swift Current and 23 in Kindersley. But now as we look at some overnight evening lows for our temperatures in these surrounding areas, we are looking at some beautiful conditions for our evening tonight. We are going to be seeing those plus temperatures kind of make their way in these surrounding areas, back once again as we head into these seasons. So that's really nice. We won't be really expecting too much of those minus marks, but we never know what might switch up. So I think we should be grateful for seeing this tonight. I always say, it's getting into that patio season. So please make sure to get out there and enjoy it. We have those plus temperatures tonight for these spots with that low of 8 and 9 for Bonnyville and Isle of Cross. Most spots are expecting between a low of 5 to 6 degrees tonight with Meadow Lake, Provost, and Paradise Hill. So going to be a beautiful night. Aren't expecting any too high chances of some rainfall either. And then as we look at our hourly forecast for our Tuesday here in the Border City, beautiful graph there as we head into our mid-afternoon, starting off with that plus degree mark with 9 degrees off in the morning, and we get to around our mid-afternoon to 4 p.m. We're hitting that 24-degree mark. So we are going to be getting past that 20-degree mark once again for our Tuesday. Another beautiful day expected, because as we look past that, we'll even be hitting that 25 as we go through the week into our Thursday. And look at that. Mixture of some sun and cloud all these days. Beautiful, beautiful conditions expected as we go through our week into our weekend with that 15-19 Saturday and Sunday, cooling down slightly as we head into that, but don't worry, we are going to be seeing some sunnier days ahead. That's all I have for now. Our Abby St. John will have more news coming up after the break.
I'm very happy to be joined once again with Jenna Barold Cleary with the Lloydminster Museum and Archives. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me on again, Abby.
Of course, I love having you and talking about the museum and all the fun things that you do within the community. Now, the Weaver Heritage Park is what we're talking about today, and it is opening up on May 20th. Tell me a little bit about the opening day and a little bit of what Heritage Park is.
Of course. So I'll start with our opening day. So this is Saturday, May the 20th, and it runs from 10 until 4. And we're really excited about this. We're going to have a lot of activities going on. We will have our volunteers doing demonstrations such as blacksmithing, grain grinding, and making rope. And if you participate in making rope, you'll be able to take a little bit home. In the morning, we are also going to have somebody in who is going to bring in some newly hatched chicks. So you will be able to hold the chicks, talk a little bit about agriculture. As well, we will have lots of other fun things for you to do, such as roasting marshmallows around a campfire, heritage games such as stilts, ice cream making, historic laundry, crafts, and of course, tours of our Weaver Heritage Park site.
That sounds awesome, and it sounds like a lot of fun, and there's different things to do. I guess tell me a little bit about, what the Weaver Heritage Park is and what the experience will be like for people who do join on the opening day or the days following.
Of course, so Weaver Heritage Park, we are very excited that it is open Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays all throughout the summer up until August 26th. And so every single weekend you can come in, it's admission by donation, and you are welcome to participate in tours. And we will also be hosting a bunch of these activities that you will see on opening day. You'll be able to participate in them as well on all of these weekends. So again, we are open Thursday, Friday, Saturdays from 10 until 4, admission by donation at Weaver Heritage Park.
And you did mention a couple times that it is by donation. What do those donations go towards?
Those donations go towards keeping our site up and running, Weaver Heritage Park. We are run by the Lloydminster Museum and Archives. However, we still need to keep our site up and running. So you are welcome to pay by donation, either by cash, or we can even, you can pay by donation through debit as well, if that's easier for you.
That sounds amazing. And now, is there anything else that you'd like to add that we never really touched on previously?
If you are interested at all in joining us at Weaver Heritage Park, we will be posting about all of the fun activities that we will be doing on our Facebook page, Lloydminster Museum and Archives, or you can check out our website, lloydminster.ca/WHP for Weaver Heritage Park.
And just one final question for the opening day on May 20th, is it the same admission by donation, or is there tickets that they need to purchase for that specific day?
It is just admission by donation, so feel free to drop in. You can come say hi to us at our reception building, which is the brick building with the green roof. And if you're not quite sure where Weaver Heritage Park is, it is located where the old LCSC, Lloydminster Cultural and Science Center, used to be. And you will be able to see, even from the highway, you'll be able to see a log cabin and a barn and more. We have lots of historical buildings, lots of historical implements like tractors and other vehicles. So you'll be able to pop in and say hi to us there.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. And this sounds really exciting and a really opportunity to learn about how people lived back in the day and get to experience it hands-on, which is awesome. So thank you for joining me again.
Thank you very much for having me, Abby.
Furniture set and design supplied by Furniture Gallery and Furniture House, downtown Lloydminster.
We have a familiar face back here on Primetime Local News today, Christine Milkovic-Krause, who has a connection to Lloydminster in a very interesting way. Thank you for joining us today, Christine.
Thanks again for having me on your show, Stacey. And I will just quickly introduce Teddy because he doesn't want to be here right now, but that is the real Teddy. And so the connection with Lloydminster is Teddy was found there, frozen with severe frostbite injuries where he lost his ears.
And now, since then, you started out just, I guess, kind of out of the blue as an inspiration to focus some children's books around Teddy. And now you're at book number 3. So tell me about the latest book in the series, Christine.
So book number 3 is called Teddy Gets Adopted. And this story really does highlight Lloydminster because that is where the story began. So in this story, Teddy shares his feelings of loss and loneliness, of losing his family, and he's not really sure about what happened. And it talks about his time in foster care and all of the good people who helped him throughout this time, his hard time, but he persevered through and he never gave up hope. And this story really highlights all the heroes and helpers along the way that helps Teddy get to me. And there's also a geographical component as we go from Winnipeg to Lloydminster and Edmonton and back down to where we are in Abbotsford, BC, so children can follow along on the map of Canada and follow Teddy's journey.
This is really amazing, Christine, going from not ever being an author of books of any sort to now you have this book and a 4th coming out. How does it feel to be just kind of in this whirlwind?
It is a whirlwind. Oh my goodness. It's all happened in the last year and a half. So I hope to have the 4th book, kind of the finale book that lets Teddy be his true authentic self and reveal a big surprise to everybody. And that story will be quite fun. It's called Teddy Visits the Vet. I can't wait for that one to come out in November this year. And then I think I will take a little short hiatus, but I have plenty of stories of Teddy still in my head. And this cat is a constant source of inspiration, that mixed with my children.
Are you surprised at the feedback, Christine, that you get? I've looked at some of the reviews on, the Amazon sites and Goodreads and things like that, and everybody really seems to resonate with Teddy's story in one way or another. So, is it a little bit overwhelming, the response you've had?
I mean, it's surprising that people are so kind and actually, I think they genuinely love the stories. And yeah, it's been so positive and so amazing. And yeah, I get so surprised every time I read those reviews, and it's honestly been such a blessing. I feel very, very grateful.
You have also given back through this as well, Christine, with giving back to some of the rescues. Does that continue with the series, or can people find out more information on how to donate to some of the rescues connected with Teddy?
Of course, and this book, Teddy Gets Adopted, really highlights all of the rescue organizations that were involved, from Team Cat Care to Saving Animals from Euthanasia, Safe, Heart and Soul. So there are ways that people can get involved, and suggestions to children on how they can become a helper in their community, not just with monetary donations, but it gives them suggestions on things they can find around their house that maybe they could bring to a rescue, and just take the burden off of these volunteers. So absolutely, this book is really all about highlighting the rescues and how to help.
Well, congratulations, Christine, on the success of this series. We're already looking forward to number 4, but with number 3, your latest here, Teddy Gets Adopted, where can people get a copy of that?
People can get a copy of that on Amazon, and it is available worldwide. Feel free to check me out on my website, www.christinemilkovic-krause.com, and see Teddy at home and coloring pages for your children, and see what's coming next, and more information about Teddy. And if you want to follow Teddy on Facebook, go to The Adventures of Teddy on Facebook, and we post a lot of cat memes and stories about Teddy.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Christine. We appreciate it, and we will chat again with you when book 4 comes out.
We will. Thank you for your support as always, Stacey. It's so a pleasure to be here.
That's all the time we have for Primetime Local News. Thank you so much for joining us, and have a great rest of your evening.